Hello, everybody. It's the Worm. I'm back for some more VLR. Last time, it was a bit of a. Well, nothing hugely major occurred. The one thing that did occur was the voting where Alice suddenly appeared and was able to cast her vote. And thus, that was a pretty big surprise for me, getting betrayed by her out of nowhere. That was definitely an instance where me picking ally first all the time, really. Well, I was. Usually I would expect to be bamboozled every now and then, but that one really got me, I was really not expecting what occurred, so. Good work on the game for swapping me off my feet for that instance there. But anyway, we were just sort of dealing with the fallout from that situation. And we are now here. We are with Alice. We are in the bee garden with her, and we have gotten her to open up. And so we are now going to hear her story, her background. And it is with some sadness that I am here, because I think I might have to finally put to rest my desire for her being an ancient Egyptian priestess, I knew, from the beginning of this game, that idea had been losing credibility, but I think this will be the last of it, the final nail in the coffin. So, coffin. I just realized the coffin from 999. Anyway, let's do this. Let's let me get a nice drink of water first, so that I do not wear out my voice so quickly. Okay. All right, Alice. Give me something good here. Give me something good that I can replace with my ancient Egyptian priestess theory. Okay, my father is Egyptian, but my mother is French. They met while my mother was in Egypt on a vacation, and married shortly thereafter. When I was 3, we all moved to the US. My father was a scientist, and his field was cloning. Okay. Alright. That seems appropriate for the story we are in. He was recruited by an American lab, which was why we moved. Both of my parents had used English around me from the time I was born, so I didn't have any problems adapting to life in the United States. Yeah, I couldn't detect any specific accent other than just sort of general American English. By my 9th birthday, we'd been there for 6 years. That was when it happened. In the middle of the day, my mother showed up at school. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she didn't say anything to me in the driveway. Excuse me. She didn't say anything to me on the drive home. When we arrived, there were several policemen there to meet us. My father had always been a very punctual man, and when dinner time came and went with no sign of him, even I began to realize something terrible had happened. It wasn't until several years later that I finally learned the truth. My father's lab had been attacked by terrorists, and he had been kidnapped. For the rest of my childhood, my mother raised me by herself. I didn't realize it then, but it must have been incredibly difficult for her, as a single mother alone in the country where any relatives were a transatlantic flight away. She did her best not to let me see it, but every so often, when she thought she was alone, the mask would fall away, and in every line on her face I could see the exhaustion and loneliness. As much as I missed my father, it was those moments that made me wish more than anything that he'd never been taken. Fortunately, I was an excellent student and did especially well in math. I earned a full-ride scholarship straight out of high school and spent the next several years studying. It's kind of funny seeing Alice in a less revealing outfit. After graduation, I took a job with the Department of Defense, hoping that they might have the resources to help me look for my father. I was immediately assigned to the Special Office of Internal Security, or SOIS. Their purpose is to investigate, and sometimes deal with, terrorist organizations and other serious threats to the state. I could tell my mother wasn't happy with my decision, but she chose to remain silent about it. Eventually, I learned that the terrorist organization that had taken my father was none other than the Myrmidons, although at the time that name didn't mean anything to me. They were suspected of human cloning. Specifically, it was thought that they had been using cloning techniques to copy their most useful members and expand their ranks. The Myrmidons apparently believed that they could use cloning to create a new race of humans. Now, at last, I knew the reason for my father's abduction. The commander of the Myrmidons is a man named Left. We know his name and gender, but not his appearance or his age. The Myrmidons are closely associated with a cult known as Free the Soul. We believe that Free the Soul provides their funding, but trying to pin any misdeeds on the cult's leader, a man named Brother, is like trying to nail Jello to a wall. Brother is supposed to be fairly advanced in years, and rumors say he's so old he can't even get out of bed. Unfortunately, his mind seems to be as sharp as ever. Do you think this figure here is meant to be Brother? Maybe it's him when he was younger? You could tell that figure had long hair. I'm not sure we've seen a guy with long hair yet. At that point, I hit a wall. I knew the Myrmidons had been behind my father's kidnapping, but that was all I could learn about them. Aha. There's the Nevada facility from 999. Then one day, I got a tip that some of them were hiding in a building in the Nevada desert. I headed out immediately. On my way there, my car had some engine trouble and stalled out. I was trying to decide what to do when the SUV appeared out of nowhere. Here's a question. I'm not sure I necessarily want the answer to this question, but I'm curious whether or not... I know there are 3 Zero escape games. There's 999, there's this VLR, and then I know the last one I think is Zero Time Dilemma. I think that's what it's called. The thought that just popped in my head that I'm curious about is, do you think they had a whole trilogy in mind from the outset? Or was 999 made and then, after its success, or, whatever amount of sold copies meant success to them, allowed them to make a sequel? The reason why that thought just popped into my head, because I remember seeing this scene in 999, and it makes me think, maybe did they always intend for this to be Alice in this game, or did they mean it to be kind of like funny joke Easter egg at the end of the game, where here's the ancient Egyptian priestess, and then only when they started making the sequel did they say, well, hang on a second, we need to explain that last scene. Okay, let's make it a character, and, actually make her a character. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I necessarily want the answer to that, but maybe I'll find out later. Who knows? I mean, it's probably not a spoiler or anything, right? Never mind. I was trying to decide what to do when an SUV appeared out of nowhere. Yep. I'll give you one guess who was behind the steering wheel. Clover. Did we let her drive? I don't remember. Maybe we did, huh? That was the first time we met. Clover might have mentioned that, and I'm probably just forgetting. There were 4 other people in the car with her, and when I asked about them, Excuse me. And when I asked what they were doing, all I got was... Oh. I should actually read the sentence, huh? There were 4 other people in the car with her, and when I asked them what they were doing, I got what was just about the last answer I'd expected. They told me they'd been locked up inside the very building I'd been on my way to investigate, and that they were currently in pursuit of the people who had kidnapped them in the first place. My priorities shifted very quickly. After a short discussion, I convinced them to allow me to come along. My hope was to find the people they were chasing, who I was certain were the Myrmidons. In the end, however, we were unable to track them down. In fact, I still don't know where they might have gone. Eventually, I took Clover and her companions to SOIS headquarters. We decided that involving the police would only complicate things. After some questioning, it was determined that the people who had instigated this particular event were not connected to the Myrmidons. I was just about to ask, actually. The question was kind of rocking around in my noggin, and I was just about to vocalize it when the game popped it up itself. Yeah, it was. I was just thinking, is Akane and Santa, were they really a part of Myrmidons? The connection so far is Akane claiming to be Zero, and then the actual the symbols on the robe, and in the, next to that one coffin, the one Snake was in. That's the connection. Here's a question I have. In 999, we got that flashback every so often that showed when Junpei was kidnapped, and we saw the guy with the gas mask and had the symbol on him as well. Here's a question. Obviously, this is rhetorical. I'm just musing aloud here. I'm wondering now if that was... Because I think my assumption at the end of 999 was that had to be either June or Santa. But now I'm wondering, considering that our cast of characters in this game were also kidnapped by gas mask wearing people, maybe it was someone else. Now Alice here is saying that they're not connected to Myrmidons. But I guess suppose they were actually, then maybe the kidnappings could have been orchestrated by people other than themselves. I don't know. Just some thoughts. We did, however, discover that the mysterious disappearance and subsequent reappearance of several children 9 years ago prior was connected to Free the Soul. Do tell. There was also a 6th person in the SUV, although they weren't riding in it per se. They were in the trunk. A middle-aged man, who I'll just call H for now, had been bound and placed in the trunk. According to the other 4, he had been behind the disappearance of the children 9 years earlier. There's the man. We also learned that his pharmaceutical company, a major player in the world stage, was effectively controlled by Free the Soul. When was that said? Was that said before? Was that said before in this game? Maybe it was said before and I forgot, but I don't remember hearing this. If someone wants to remind me if this was said before, please do, because I don't remember this being said. The company was controlled by Free the Soul. Okay. More specifically, I suppose H was a member of Free the Soul, and very committed to their cause. Really? That's interesting. I thought his whole motivation was Hey, I can't see people's faces. I want to see people's faces. I'm gonna work on psychic stuff so I can see people's faces. Or something like that. I mean, that could still be his primary motivation, but... Huh. So why had he kidnapped all those children? Apparently it had been part of an experiment designed to test the ability of certain people to access what is called the morphogenetic field. I don't imagine you've ever heard of it before, so I'll try to give you a quick rundown. Simply put, these people can access a sort of field that allows their consciousness to resonate with the consciousness of other certain people. To be honest, it might be simpler just to call it telepathy. The SOIS had heard of this particular ability before and had actually used it in a number of investigations, so I wasn't surprised to learn of its existence. I was shocked, however, to learn that these experiments had been carried out by a member of Free the Soul. If that was the case, then Brother must have known about it. The thought of him discovering a way to control and harness that power was terrifying. It wasn't too long after the incident in Nevada that another tip about the Myrmidons crossed my desk. This time, it claimed that the Myrmidons intended to launch a large-scale biological terrorist attack. My bosses decided that we needed more agents to deal with a threat of that magnitude, and Clover was recruited. Because she'd been a test subject in H's experiment, we knew she had the ability to access the morphogenetic field, and we wanted to put that ability to use. What, no mention of Snake? Come on. After several months of training, she was sent on her first mission. She would be tasked with the infiltration and investigation of Myrmidon cloning lab. I was assigned to be her commanding officer. I hoped that our investigation might also give me a lead on my father's whereabouts. So when does the whole test space flight come into this? At last, I had a chance to find out what had happened to him. I wouldn't let that chance pass me by. Perhaps that was what kept me from noticing the truth. The truth, you say? The whole operation was a trap. The lab was fake, and Clover was captured almost immediately. I got there as fast as I could, but when I arrived, the building was only an empty shell. All of the conspirators who had pretended to be researchers and the like had already fled. I searched frantically for Clover until at last, in a basement room, I found her. She had been tied to a chair, but on the floor next to her was another body. It was my father. Wow. He looked as if he'd just been dumped there, and when I got to him, his body was already cold. He was covered in dark, ugly bruises. It wasn't until later that I learned he died from ruptured organs and internal bleeding. They had beaten him to death. As soon as Clover had been captured, a Myrmidon in a mask had come to visit her. He'd said that unless she wanted to end up like my father, she would leave them alone and tell her masters at the SOIS to do likewise. In retrospect, they must have known who I was, and who my father was. That was why they'd killed him. Perhaps they'd thought they were sending a message to me. Or that once he was gone, I'd lose my reason for chasing them. They were very, very wrong. I took Clover with me and left. I tried to console myself with the fact that I had, at least, been able to save her. Sometime later, I received a call from a coroner. He told me there was something I needed to see. There in the morgue was my father, cold and pale on a steel table. I could barely stand to look at him, but the coroner insisted. On his arm were 2 rows of numbers comprised of 8s and 9s. It took me a moment to recognize my father's handwriting. He had carved them into his own skin. Oh my goodness, you're able to recognize his handwriting? Ugh. Into his arm. Wow, okay. On his chest was another message, but they were letters this time, not numbers. Not many, just enough to make out a short sentence. I love you, Alice. I broke down crying right there in the morgue. They were the first tears I had shed since the operation had started, and there was no stopping them. There would be no forgiveness. Not for the monsters who put my father through this. They destroyed my family. I would make them pay even if I had to die to do it. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would avenge my father. It didn't take long to figure out that the numbers he'd written were a latitude and longitude. They pointed to a chemical factory that had been disguised as an abandoned factory. Excuse me. That's just... I'm just making up words. Oh, no, I probably switched. Okay. They pointed to a chemical factory that had been disguised as an abandoned building. Further investigation revealed that it was the mother lode we'd been looking for. The headquarters of the Myrmidons. I think my father must have known how things would turn out. Knowing he was going to die, he'd written the direction to our enemy's fortress into his own body. He'd sacrificed too much for me to waste this opportunity with recklessness. This time, our operation would be a success. This time, I wouldn't let my excitement put Clover or any other of my agents in danger. So we took our time. We gathered information. We did our research. And we planned. Finally, we were ready. December 25th, 2028 was going to be the day we finally set foot inside the Myrmidon stronghold. But then, on the 22nd, only 3 days before the operation was scheduled to begin, a man in a gas mask appeared. One man? Singular? So, you inhaled that gas, passed out, and woke up here in the AV room.
Yes. Well, there it is. Everything that's happened with the Myrmidons and me. I left a few of the details out, of course, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Thanks. She gave me a sad sort of smile and stood up.
We should go back.
Not yet. Your story explained a lot, but there's still one big question.
Which is?
Who here is a Myrmidon? One of us planted the bombs. And based off the code we found, it's pretty clear that that person is a Myrmidon. I just said that twice, didn't I? Pardon me. Right?
Yes.
And I agree that we need to figure out who they are.
What do you propose we do?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Do you have any clues?
Clues? Well, if I could decrypt that code, it might tell us something, but...
Okay, how can we do that?
I told you, we need a key. Without that, it's pointless.
What's a key?
A key is a key. It allows you to sort of unlock a code. Myrmidons usually use this huge string of numbers as a key.
Wait. A long string of numbers? Could that be... Yes. I have a picture of it. I saved a picture of it. But I guess the game's just gonna flashback it. Okay. Seven 83153-61098-83809-42419-90551.
What the hell?
Achievement unlocked. He was convicted of a string of numbers. Ha ha ha. I was almost as surprised as she was. The numbers had just kinda appeared in my mind, and I was saying them before I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing. Alice looked at me incredulously, and I stared back.
Wait, can you say that again?
At this point, if I were her, I'd be wondering, are you a Myrmidon, Sigma? But, you know, I guess beggars can't be choosers. 78153-61098-83809-42419-90551.
That's 198,449,351 to the third power.
Okay. She did say she was good at math, so okay, fine. Human calculator over here. What?
That number you just told me. Prime factor decomposition on that number gets you 198,449,351 to the third power.
You're talking about reducing an integer to a series of prime numbers that you multiply together to get it, right? Like, if you have 30, then you'd get 2 times 3 times 5, right?
Exactly. You probably learned that in junior high, right?
So you're saying that 1,984,400... No, wait, what was that? $198,449,351 is a prime. And if you multiply that by itself 3 times, you'd get that.
Yes.
Don't tell me you just did all that in your head.
I did do all of that in my head. Simple mental arithmetic.
What? No. No way. That's impossible.
I told you, I'm better at math than most people.
That's not better at math.
Look at you. You just recited a huge string of numbers.
Look, that's neither here nor there. This is time travel. That's much more reasonable, Alice. Look, looping and hopping timelines, that's much more reasonable than you doing crazy math. Don't you understand?
That seems pretty astounding, too. Where did you find that number anyway?
I saw it in a dream. I didn't know what to say. What would I tell her? It just came to me? Yes, it came to me in a dream. Say it.
Can't tell me, huh? Fine. I'm pretty sure that's the key to the code, though. I know the Myrmidons use prime factors for their keys.
Oh, do they now? Okay.
And there aren't a lot of 25-digit numbers that turn out to be the third power of a prime number. I think there's a very good chance that number you memorized was specifically created by someone.
Seriously, if I were Alice, I would be thinking, Sigma, are you the Myrmidon? But, you know, maybe not. He did save her life, so that could be weighing in the thought process there. Could you explain that with small words?
Well, look at the prime factors of your number. 198,449,351 to the third power. I think that's our hint for cracking the code. You still don't get it? Try to remember the code we saw in the infirmary. What did it say on the monitor?
I think the first row was CQUJHNMTEONERAXDFMIOVP.
And the second row?
It's crazy how he just remembers that. We're dealing with morphogenetic field nonsense. I'm sure this is fine. BYOLWXYPXSVZEQGTKRTLED. I think. Then they just repeat.
Wow, you've got a pretty impressive memory. We could really use someone like you back at the...
Well, keep going. How do we decode that?
You use 198,449,351 to point you to the right letters.
How do we do that?
Well, the first number is 1, so take the first letter.
A.
The next number is 9, so go 9 letters over from the first one. Then just keep going until
Oops,
you get something.
sorry, Alice.
Make sense?
I ran over what she'd said in my head. The prime number Alice had given me was 198,449,351. So what would we get if we picked out all the letters like she'd explained? First letter would be C from the top left. Oh, we're using this. We're not using the alphabet. We're using this. Okay, then you'd move 9 to the right, which would give you O. And then 8 more move to the right, and then should we get a word? And that word was... I beg your pardon? 6 chances to succeed. That seems kind of strangely arbitrary. I mean, why not make it 9 at that point? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Code sheet won't be displayed until you input your answer, so be wise to solve it now. The key is yes. The key is that closing the uh-huh. Okay. Oh crap. Hang on. Son of a gun. I took a picture of the one thing, but not the other. Son of a gun. Go back. I want to go back. Really? You gonna do this to me now, game? Why, this is downright unreasonable. Fail me, game. Do it. I dare you. I double dare you. No, don't. Arg. I can't figure it out.
You what? Are you serious?
Huh. I didn't expect, more to follow afterward. Okay, let's see this. Let's see the fail route. Hey, get off my back. If I don't know, I don't know.
What? Ugh, just forget it. I'll figure it out on my own.
She stalked off. Wait. I went to follow her, but...
Stay where you are. I don't have any use for another brain-dead man.
Another? What do you mean another? Her voice was unexpectedly furious, and it stopped me... Maybe she's talking about Dio. And it stopped me cold. She fixed me with an icy glare, then turned and stalked off. I stood frozen where I was and watched her go. Just a game over, huh? Okay. That seemed kind of funny. Decode the code. Skip.
Well, the first number is...
Okay. Okay, wait. Hang on. Let's take a better picture now. Okay, wait. No. Let's do a landscape picture. There it is. Dang it. It's downright unreasonable. But we'll work with it. We're gonna work with it. Okay, so first is C. Then we do 9 over from there, right? And as he said, that is O. Alright, let's continue on. M. P. E. Completed. Easy as pie. I did it. Completed. That's it. That's the answer.
Completed? Are you sure?
Yeah, I did exactly what you told me to do, and the word I got was completed. Well, actually, it's completed, completed, completed. The code and the letters repeat every 2 lines. It just repeats.
Well, I can't remember the code like you can, but if you're certain, I believe you.
I'm definitely certain.
All right, then. I wonder what completed is supposed to mean, though.
I've completed planting the bombs. What? Aside from the obvious, you mean? I'm guessing here it means mission complete. So that's what the transmitter was for.
Huh? What are you talking about? What transmitter?
I barely even heard her. Suddenly, my mind was full of memories that hadn't been there a moment before. It was like a wave had washed away the sand, revealing a bed of precious gems underneath. Ba-bam.
Holy Father, Holy Brother, Holy Master, my sacred mission is at last complete. With these two hands, mankind is saved. I am your will made flesh. In your name, I give thanks.
Damn it. Why hadn't I realized it before? I could remember a series of numbers, but not this? At least I remembered it now. Dio was a member of the Myrmidons. And not just any member, he was their leader. That meant he had to be the one who planted the bombs.
Hey, are you listening to me?
Hey, whatever happened after that ending, anyway? Do you remember that, Sigma? You guys just kind of walked off towards a shelter, supposedly? What was that like? Oh well.
Then answer my question. What the hell was that? What's this about a transmitter?
I didn't trust myself to try and explain it to her. More than likely, she'd just think I was insane. Even I could barely make sense of the sudden influx of new information.
Wait. Don't tell me you're one of the Myrmidons.
Yeah, finally. If I was, do you really think I'd reveal myself like this?
Point.
I don't know where Clover appeared.
Oh, there you are. I've been looking all over for you.
Really?
We're all down in the Floor B warehouse. Well, all of us but Luna and Quark.
Why?
We've still got 45 minutes until the white doors open.
I know that.
Oh. Okay. Hey, wait a minute. I thought you, Kay, and Quark didn't know about the white doors.
Tenmyoji told us about them. He said he'd show us where they were. So we all followed him down to the Floor B warehouse.
I'm assuming you left Quark with Luna?
Yeah, anyway, when we showed up, Vi and Kay were already there. Well, all of a
So?
sudden, Vi, Tenmyoji, and Dio all started yelling at each other.
Why?
What?
Did something happen?
According to Clover, the last AB game had been the cause of their fight. Even though Tenmyoji only had one BP, Fi had chosen Betray. They started to fight, and since Dio had pressed Betray on behalf of his team, eventually he got dragged into.
That seems odd. Fi only had one BP too. Choice seems like a perfectly valid defensive move.
Ugh, just come with me. Kay's trying to calm them down, but there's only one of him.
Okay. Come on, Alice. Let's go.
Coming.
Let's go knock some sense into these knuckleheads. All four of them were still there when we arrived. They seemed to have calmed down a bit, but the tension in the air was almost visible. I felt like I'd stepped into a room full of flammable gas. Even the smallest spark could turn the whole place into a raging inferno. Even Kay, usually so calm and collected, was standing ramrod straight with his hand balled into a fist at his side. I looked at Alice, pursed my lips, and then headed over to the angry knot of people occupying most of the room. Clover told me what's going on. This whole thing is stupid. You need to knock it off.
Stupid? What about this is stupid?
I'm not sure that was the best way to start this, Sigma, but alright.
We're talking about my life, you self-righteous dick.
I know, but yelling at each other isn't going to solve your problem. The best thing for us to do right now is to trust each other and get through this. Sigma, I mean, yeah. But I'm not sure that's the most convincing thing to say right now. Not that I would know what the most convincing thing is to say right now, it's just... I feel like they're not gonna be receptive to this kind of thing. Wouldn't you agree?
Hard to trust someone who tried to kill me.
Same to you. I told you letting Dio vote was a stupid idea. What did you think he was gonna do? You might as well have pressed the button yourself.
That's a fair point.
I couldn't just leave Quark alone.
That's no excuse. And where do you get off telling me I shouldn't have picked Betray?
Did you even think that through? What? I was supposed to pick Ally?
If I'd done that, I'd be dead right now.
I could say the same thing to you. Damn good thing Dio didn't choose Ally.
Please, that's enough from both of you. Sigma's right. This isn't the time to be bickering with each other.
Oh, you don't get to talk. You tried to betray Clover and escape on your own.
Perhaps. But I think that's better than nearly killing someone.
Well, I only did it so that she wouldn't kill Tenmyoji.
God damn it. Enough already. I roared with my fury. Well, I didn't really roar, but you get the point. And my voice echoed and rebounded off the walls of the warehouse. Everyone fell silent. I didn't know how long this silence was to last. I just had to put it on a table. You know what? His roar has made me remember something. If you'll recall, which I assume you do, it was only something like 2 episodes ago, there was the whole reveal with Sigma and K supposedly having the same face. Sigma said K has his face. Now, I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen Sigma, at least his 3D model, his face, at any point yet. But that's not really what I'm interested in right now. Here's my question. If they have the same face, and we're thinking, what, clone, android, whoever, what who knows? Do you think they would normally have... I mean, if they're a clone, so to speak, let's say that. Or, if maybe we're doing something else, like secret twin brother. I don't know what we're doing, but wouldn't they have sort of the same sounding voice? Wouldn't people have picked up on that? I mean, technically, say it's the android theory, then maybe they could do something where, hey, they can modify their voice, and so it's different. But if they're both human, and they're clones or something, I don't know, I feel like that would be something someone would have pointed out, right? Like, true, K has a mask on, and so his voice is distorted a bit, but I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch. Do you guys think that's a stretch? That might be a stretch. Never mind. Let's move on. There was only one way I was going to be able to take control of the situation. Guys, listen to me. We really don't have time for this. I was met with a number of glares, but I soldiered on. See, the thing is, I figured out who planted the bombs.
What? Is this what you were talking about earlier?
Sort of, yeah. I know which one of you it is.
Well, spit it out then.
Please, explain what's going on here.
I don't think I need to. They're going to admit their guilt in just a few minutes.
What?
You're all going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Or, I guess I should say, Dio's mouth.
What are you on? You think I set those bombs?
Yes, I do.
Hey, if you're gonna accuse me, you better have some pretty damn good evidence, pal.
Oh, I'm not accusing you. I'm just stating a fact.
Oh yeah? Where the hell'd you get that fact?
Fun as it was, I knew taunting alone wouldn't be enough to make Dio confess. He'd just played dumb. He was good at it, and I'd get nothing. That meant I was going to have to trick him. Go for the bluff. Well, you see, I'm actually from Free the Soul.
Free the soul? What's that? Some kind of hippie shoe company?
Don't play dumb, Dio. Or should I call you left? Brother ordered me to come here to keep an eye on you. It was quick, but just for a moment I saw his eyes twitch. I leapt on that moment of weakness like a hungry dog on a steak. Fine. Skepticism is understandable, admirable even. But perhaps this will convince you. I pressed forward, pulling out every fact I could remember. I told Dio about Brother's background, about his younger brother about how his brother Left had been murdered. I mentioned casually that the Myrmidons were all clones of a single person. So, still not convinced? How about this? 78153610988 3809424199045551. Yeah. Do a little prime factor decomposition on that, and you'll get 198,449,351 to the third power. If I'm not who I say I am, how on earth could I possibly know that?
What? No, that's not possible.
Finally. So, let's start over, shall we? I was sent here to watch your every move. It seems our wise and noble brother doesn't trust you. He suspects betrayal.
No! You're lying!
I assure you I'm not. But if you don't believe me, why don't you go outside and calm yourself with your transmitter?
No! No! You have to be lying! Brother trusts me! That's why he chose me for this mission! Why would he make me the leader of the Myrmidons if he...
Huh? Sorry, what was that?
I said, why would he have made me the leader of the Myrmidons if...
I grinned.
Wait. What the hell? Are you fucking kidding me?
Sorry, Dio. I've never even seen Brother.
What the hell was all that? How did you know all those things?
Dunno. Maybe I was divinely inspired.
Don't give me that shit!
What's going on?
What are these Myrmidons?
Dio and I stared at one another while Clover and Tenmyoji quickly explained to Phi and Kay about the memory card and the number 2 bomb, and about the code we'd found that was from the terrorist organization called the Myrmidons.
So you mean to say someone from the Myrmidons planted the bombs?
And Dio pretty much just admitted to doing it?
Yep.
Bastards. I'll never forgive you.
I heard a low, furious muttering from behind me, and turned to see Alice, her lips pulled back into a snarl.
I am going to kill you!
Her voice rose to a scream as she charged towards Dio. He ducked out of the way smoothly and pulled something from his pocket. Probably a knife, right? No,
Whoa
it's the
there.
trigger. This is that one scene we saw a long time ago. Yes, of course, the garage opener. The whole time, yes.
I like my women a little feisty. But you're taking it a little too far, sweetheart. Tone it down.
What?
You see this? You know what it is, don't you?
Oh my god. Is that the detonator?
Yeah, to be fair, we have not defused any of the bombs, so... yeah, it's still in play.
Exactly. And I assume you know what happens if I press this button?
Yes. I think I do. I'm guessing it'll set off both of the bombs.
Well, I wouldn't say both.
You mean there's still a number 1 bomb we haven't found?
Correct. And there's one more, too.
There's 4.
No. There are 4 bombs?
Exactly. I planted 4 bombs.
Okay.
They're the ones numbered 1, 2, and 3, but there's also one more. Bomb number 0. Add all that up and you're looking at about 4 tons of explosive power. Those go off and it's all over. That's enough oomph to turn this whole place into a smoking crater.
Aren't you forgetting something?
That'd kill you too.
So, I'm ready for that. I've got spares.
Spares? Is that what Sigma was talking about?
Yeah, clones.
I heard Alice whisper something to Clover.
Let's go, Clover. Show him all that training wasn't for nothing.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Right.
Before I had a chance to ask what was going on, they moved.
Die, you bastard! Yeah!
She roared and leapt toward Dio, Clover following just behind. Alice threw a punch at Dio's face, and as he dodged, Clover spun around from behind her. Dio grunted and turned to focus on Alice, but Clover darted in and snatched the detonator from his hand. Good work.
Clover, get him!
Right!
Maybe toss the detonator over here first?
Sigma, catch!
Oh, thank you. Huh? Before I could respond, Clover had thrown the detonator at me. I scrambled to get it out of the air and held it to my chest. Don't accidentally press the button.
Damn it! Stop! Let me go! Still let go of me, you asshole!
So I think this should mean the bombs aren't timed, right? It's all tied to the detonator? That's good. Right? We don't have to worry about them just going off on their own. Yelling didn't do him any good, and Dio found himself subdued by the skillful teamwork of Alice and Clover. Strangely though, once they had a hold of him, he stopped struggling. I was reminded of a gazelle with its neck in the mouth of a lion. Had he surrendered? Or did he have some trick up his sleeve? It didn't feel right. I didn't have to wait long for my misgivings to be proven true. The detonator The detonator in my hand suddenly began to flash.
Ha!
What?
Serves you right.
Uh-oh.
What are you laughing at?
You! Her! All of you! God, you're stupid.
What? Why?
See that detonator you threw to Sigma? You activated it. If it gets more than a meter away from me, it sets itself off.
Well, that's just... That's convenient for you.
We figured someone might try to take it away, so we put in a little safeguard. Since you two were kind enough to take it away from me, the bombs have gone from remote control to countdown timer.
I see.
Go ahead and destroy the detonator if you want. Won't make any difference now. The bombs are gonna go off no matter what.
How long do we have?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Oh no.
My condolences.
What can we do to stop them?
I told you that already. First, we need the device that allows us to input information. Then we plug it into each bomb and enter the codes.
Hey Alice, who the hell are you? How do you know all this?
None of your damn business. Just tell me where the input device is.
Well, that's none of your damn business. Fuck! Stop! You're gonna break it!
Of course. That's the plan.
Please, stop!
Just tell me what I want to know.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's in my coat. The right-hand pocket.
Clover, check it out.
Right.
She nodded and started digging through his pockets. After a few minutes...
It's no use. There's nothing here.
Did you lie to me?
No, I swear, keep looking.
Oh, there is something in here.
Clover pulled her hand out of his pocket and held it out. Is that a pill? Like for medicine?
Hey, what is this?
Huh? I can't see it. Bring it over here.
Of course. And she's gonna do it too, huh? Clover frowned and moved closer to Dio, holding the pill out toward him. Yeah. Suddenly he moved, his right hand snaking out to grab the pill from Clover's hand. Before anyone could react, he shoved it into his mouth. I heard a tiny crack as he bit down on it. Almost immediately, he grimaced in pain.
Shit!
What? What was that?
Poison, I guess.
What?
Damn! How could I be so stupid?
Yeah, that was really... Okay, whatever. That was not the most I feel like that was not the most elegant way to do that, but alright. His eyes rolled up into his head, and flecks of spittle began to trickle out from the corners of his mouth. I grabbed him by the hair and shook. Make him throw up. Induce, you know, puke, make him puke. What the hell are you doing? Where's the input device?
Lost it. On my couch. Back home.
Don't screw with me.
Fine, don't tell us. How about you give us the deactivation codes instead?
Deactivation. You guys are persistent. Fine. Not gonna do you much good anyway. I'll tell you. You only get one. This is the deactivation code for Bomb 3.
How convenient. We only
Ready?
get one.
LXQ LHC NMR.
Got it. Thank you, Dio. What about the other three? Tell us the other three. You didn't even seem to hear me.
My body will be a part of the foundation of a bright future.
His voice was weak and more foam was dribbling out of his mouth.
Such a beautiful world. May brother live in everlasting glory.
Those were the last words Dio spoke. He died with a strange, happy smile. Let me see. Okay, we're getting on time here. So I think I'll call it. Next time we'll probably finish this route and then maybe start another. How does that sound? Does that sound alright? I think that sounds alright. Okay, so I've been The Worm. This has been VLR, and we are moving right along. We got our memories back. That's pretty cool. Guess we'll see where that takes us. Alrighty. See you for the next one. Bye-bye.